What is one word you can use to describe sexual assault?
I chose the word blind because sexual assault can happen to anyone.
Why did you choose the word disgusting?
Because it's gross. It's gross. I don't understand why someone would want to do that.
Why did you say destroying?
Because I don't think people understand how much it really breaks someone. It breaks like your whole mentality, and it breaks your body, your soul. Like, it just destroys your whole body.
Like survivors of sexual assault, even after it happens, even years after it happens, can feel very isolated because they've been through that experience, and it's something that there's such a stigma around that we don't talk about it, so I feel very alone. Was raped the fall of last year by a classmate at my previous school during attending a party, which his team was hosting. It was a typical, he pulled me aside, we were alone, and he forced himself onto me. I did what I thought I was supposed to afterwards. I talked to police at my prior university. I went to the hospital and did everything I was supposed to do, and there were no charges pressed, no actions were taken against him. He actually last month was named the MVP of his sport at our old school.
What is one misconception people have about sexual assault?
That is what the victim wore. It's their fault because they wore a short skirt or something revealing.
Just one. I feel like the biggest one that I hear the most is like, you were asking for it. Like, I can promise you, nobody asked for that.
The conception people have about sexual assault is that it's always the victim's fault. And I feel like that's a really common answer, but it's true.
That it can't happen in a relationship.
One misconception about sexual assault is with Tinder and Bumble and dating sites like that, there are predators everywhere, and no matter who you meet, they are out there to attack you, hurt you, and take advantage of you. But I've met some really cool friends on there, and that's not going to stop me from, meeting cool people. Just one instance isn't going to change my life. Just minding my own business, and all of a sudden, he was pacing the room, going back to the bedstand. He was going to his suitcase, just looking through, and he kept on looking at his phone. And he looked like he was trying to work himself up to something, and I kept on waiting for him to take a shower because he said he wanted to take a shower, get ready for something. So all of a sudden, he stands straight in front of me, and he starts smacking my face. And for me, I didn't know how to react to that. I tensed up, and I let it happen, and then he was like, get on your knees. And in my head, I was like, no, I don't want to do this, but I just did it. And so then from there, we had oral sex, and I was trying to fight back tears. I was trying to make myself feel okay about what was happening, and then all of a sudden he threw me on top of the bed, and in that moment I screamed, no, please don't do this, I don't want to do this, and he just went for it. So he pulled me farther onto the bed, and he started choking me. I remember in our conversation, he said the one thing that he's always wanted to do was choke someone until they pass out. This guy was a big guy. He was an MMA fighter, and I, in that moment, was terrified because I thought that he was actually going to make me pass out, and I thought in that moment I might actually die today. He bit me and left bruises on me, and I actually thought that there was going to be blood gushing out of my skin just because of how hard he was biting me. Those bruises bruises lasted for weeks. So after it happened, the first instinct for me to have was to curl up at the end of the bed and just start sobbing my eyes out. The guy sat next to me and he said, "What is wrong with you? Why are you crying? You're making me feel bad."
So it's not what some people think it is, as far as like it's a stranger in the bushes that comes out and gets you. While that can happen, but most commonly it's always somebody that you know of, family member, person in a hall. It's very common for somebody that have sexually assaulted you to have a relationship.
It started when I was about 4 or 5, and it ended, I want to say I was about 12 or 13, but I was repeatedly molested and sexually assaulted by a family member on my dad's side of the family. I told my dad about it, and he decided that I wasn't being honest, so he did nothing, and I was actually punished for lying. So it didn't stop until I told my mom, and she immediately took me out of the situation.
I went to a house party off campus. It was my freshman year, it was second semester. I had just joined a sorority, so I was getting to know all my fabulous new sisters, and we were getting together. We were so excited, and I wasn't really drinking that night just because I wanted to keep my wits about me, and I was having a great time dancing with all my friends, and I noticed there were a lot of guys standing against a wall, just kind of watching. It honestly creeped me out a little bit. So they were just watching and drinking beer, and it made me really uncomfortable. So I was not feeling great, so I told my friend I was going to go outside to get some air, and as I was walking by this long line of guys, one grabbed me by my waist and stuck his hand in my pants. People talk about your fight or flight instincts, and I didn't know that there could be a third F, which is freeze. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if I was dreaming this or something. Like I would wake up in my dorm room totally fine, but it just happened, and I let it happen. And then when he was done, when he was satisfied, he just let me go and pushed me away. And I just continued on going outside. I didn't look back. I didn't say anything to him. And I just told my friend, I texted her, I said, "Look, I'm really not feeling good. I have to go." And I walked back to my dorm by myself, which looking back was a very stupid decision, but I didn't know what to do at that time. I didn't know who I should tell. I didn't know what I should do. I didn't know, like, should I shower or should I go to a hospital? But I had no idea because no one had really talked to me about it. Like, I had learned in school, like, to ask for help with what you're feeling, but that was really hard for me. And it wasn't until a year ago that I finally saw someone, because I realized that it was affecting my relationships with other men and even with my friends.
I define consent as being comfortable, first off, with whoever you're with. This can be in relationships, this can be in friendships. This does not have to always pertain to sexual assault. If you don't want to be around someone and you don't want someone hugging you, you don't want someone, you know, being around you, it is okay to leave. Like, it is okay. It's about saying yes and no. Cut and dry, yes and no. And just especially being comfortable with what's going on.
Well, consent is a basic human right. All of these people walking around here saying consent is sexy, that is the biggest load of bull I've ever heard. I do believe there's something I've watched that confronts that, and it says lingerie is sexy. Consent's a basic human right. Like, FYI. Consent for me is somebody being able to say yes in every regard. If you have to coerce someone to say yes, if you have to say, "But come on, let's do this," and she's apprehensive or he's apprehensive about it, guess what? The answer was actually no. For me, I think the most pressing sexual assault, it actually happened in a church 4 days before I moved into campus. It was my ex-boyfriend. The sun is trying to blind me. And he cornered me in a room and forced himself on me in multiple different ways. I won't go into it because it's pretty graphic. And then, like a month later, he tried to do the same thing, but at gunpoint in his dad's truck. And then I grew up being sexually abused by an uncle, so that happened again last year. And then I was almost sexually assaulted in my dorm room my freshman year here in Margaret Nance at like 2 in the morning.
Did you report the Margaret Nance one, or have you reported any of them?
None of them have been reported.
Do you mind explaining why?
With my uncle growing up, I didn't really know it was wrong until I was a little bit older, and then that sexual abuse stopped. But when he started like different smaller instances as I got older, I didn't really know how to go about reporting it, and I was afraid because nobody in our family like really believed that he was capable of such a thing, and I wasn't the only child in our family like voicing those things. So nobody in our family believed us, so I didn't believe that anybody in the police system would believe us. But then also with the Margaret Nance thing and what happened with my ex, I didn't trust the police enough to actually do something. You see all of these stories where a woman's life is, you know, her life and her well-being are worth less than her perpetrators. And I really was afraid to come forward, because my ex, his family has connections within the legal system in my county back home. So they know a lot of people and know how to get him out of things. And with the Margaret Nance thing, there's just not a lot that actually gets done about those like instances on campus. So I didn't feel comfortable coming forward.
Define consent as, I don't know, I feel like there could be different interpretations of consent, but there definitely needs to be a clear, both parties willing to do it, whatever it may be.
Beyond someone saying yes, the body language, their mannerisms, like, you know, someone can say yes, but in the moment they may completely shut down, and you need to be able to understand that. Like, just because someone is saying yes, that doesn't mean, like, people aren't always honest in situations like that, because it's uncomfortable sometimes to be honest about it. So consent is, body mannerisms are positive. You know, of course, verbal confirmation is, you know, a major player in that, but in the sense that that's not happening, whether they're inebriated or they're scared, like, you need to understand that person's boundaries. Like, just because you say something doesn't automatically mean, okay, it's good to go.
When I was actually abroad in New Zealand, I went on a trip of a lifetime to Australia and New Zealand, and I was staying in a hostel one of the nights we were there, and it wasn't like a creepy, you know, weird hostel. It's fine. And usually when you go to a hostel, you're there to meet people from all over the place. A lot of people come there who you can befriend and talk to. I was traveling with a group, so I came back I went out dancing one night, and I came back pretty drunk to the hostel to go to bed, and I was getting something from the front desk, and a guy came up to the counter, and he was like, "Do you want to go and look for beanbag chairs?" And what I thought he meant was go and to the rec room. They had billiards there, and they had billiards there, and they had like a fireplace. It was just nice, and TVs, and just, it was a hangout zone. So that's where I thought we were going, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. And they ended up taking me to the 3rd floor, and I was just kind of confused at this point. And then he started kissing me, and I was kind of, at that point, I got a little confused. I didn't know, I was just unsure of it. I wasn't very comfortable with it. And then he kind of pulled me into what I later found was the men's bathroom, and into a stall, and that's when he started taking off my clothes and just doing things that were not comfortable for me at all. I remember I said no, because it would have been hard. I'm like, okay, no, I'm not comfortable with this. I kept saying that to him, but it was almost like I wasn't in my body, and he was not listening to me. Luckily, he stopped before it got too far, but it made me feel really bad because he kept stopping. He would say, you know, why are you so uncomfortable? What's wrong? And I would be like, I don't know you. And then he would try to say things about him, and then kind of force himself on me again, and I kept trying to push me off. And finally, when I started hyperventilating and crying, that's when he finally stopped, and he finally got the message. And then I put my clothes back on, and we walked out, and I just remember being outside that bathroom, and I was like, what just happened? And I realized what had happened, and that it was not okay, and that it was sexual assault.
Will you tell us your story?
So I actually have 2 stories. My first story happened from the time I was 3 to right before I came to college, so 18. So when I was 18. So it started at 3, like I said, and it was my dad's best friend. He lived with us, like, I think he still lives there, I'm not really sure. So his name is Uncle Sean, and like I really trusted him, and like whenever me and my parents would argue or whatever, he would always be the one to comfort me or whatever. So at 3, like, that's when he started molesting me, and it just progressed from there. And I think the first time that he penetrated me was when I was 12, and after that it just like got slowly worse. I remember one day I came home from school and I was a little bit late, so he got mad because he didn't have enough time to do everything he wanted to do. So when my mom got home, she got mad at me because he gave me a black eye. And that night when my mom and my dad went to go, I guess, cash a check, I don't know what they were doing, he raped me again, and I got pregnant, and I had a miscarriage because he didn't want to be a father or whatever. So he like punched my belly until the baby died, and that actually happened twice with him. And then when I moved to college, started molesting my cousin, and I told him that that wasn't acceptable anymore because I started learning about like that doesn't happen in the real world and things. So I told him that I was going to report him if he kept it up. So he turned himself in because apparently he didn't know what he was doing was wrong, which I think is utter bullshit, but whatever. And so he served a year out of his 5-year sentence and then got out for good behavior. So my second story was my boyfriend. Well, it was my first serious boyfriend, I think 3rd actual boyfriend, and we had been dating for 3 years, and I had gone away to college, which I live like 45 minutes down the road, so it's not really that big of a deal. It wasn't like a long distance relationship or anything, but he didn't like the distance, and he said that it was like really straining our relationship, which it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't at the same time. So when he came to visit Winthrop, I was showing him around, then we went back to my room and we started like cuddling and everything, and I went to sleep and I woke up and he was on top of me, and I like tried to push him off, and he like started choking me and wouldn't let me leave, and that's pretty much it.
An advice that I would give to somebody who was just sexually assaulted: seek help. So if it just happened, I would maybe go to the hospital. They have advocates waiting for you, and it's supposed to be culturally competent to that. So just seek help, find resources in every state. There generally is a place where sexual assault victims can go get counseling for free. There's places at school, so just seek the help that you need, but also don't feel alone.
Do you have resentment towards the person who did this to you?
Honestly, I don't know why, but if I had to choose a reason, it would be because he didn't change my life, but he taught me lessons.
Why do you say no? Why do you say no?
Because if they wouldn't have fucked up my life the way that they did, I wouldn't be this beautiful, empowered, amazing woman that I am today. I was sexually assaulted by a very close friend of mine. I wasn't even a week into classes. It was actually a week before classes had started, and the night after, I had a boyfriend come up, or the guy that I was dating, he came to visit me, and I told him that night, and he completely flipped out on me. He was mentally, physically, emotionally abusive, and I stayed in that relationship even thereafter. I attempted suicide the night after that I had told him, and everyone started asking, "What did you do? What did you do?" And it wasn't his fault, it was another guy's fault, but it was the fact that no one was listening to me is what led me to that point. I remember waking up in the hospital and campus police came and they asked me what happened. They tried to get every detail, and that was even before my mom stepped into the room, even before counseling services or OBA or the advocate was even in the room. Campus police was the first person that interviewed me and started asking me questions. I didn't process anything that happened, but I ended up going through and trying to press charges, and no one gave me the reality check that I needed of how many go reported and how many go unreported. So I went in headstrong thinking that finally someone was gonna hear me, and ended up blowing completely back in my face, where I got my campus job taken away from me, and I ended up withdrawing from school. I ended up going home that semester because I had no way to pay for school, because the job that I had was supposed to pay for it, and because it was taken away, I just didn't have the opportunity anymore. I tried to fight tooth and nail with campus police and with student services. I filed a report on campus, and they completely disregarded it. They told me that it was my fault, that it was a one-night stand gone wrong, that I should have done X, Y, and Z instead of doing ABC, and in turn, he got to stay on campus, he got to keep his position, he got to participate in activities and organizations that are on campus, and I ended up going home. I went through counseling services at Winthrop when I came back, and I became a student athlete, and I thrived. The ex-boyfriend then that was supposedly supporting me completely turned, and he was just really manipulating, controlling. Going into my senior year, he raped me, and I was distraught and broken. And it was a night that we all went to a party, we all had been drinking, and I ran into him, and everything was all happy, dandy, like, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you, and I haven't seen you in forever. And that night he was angry at me that I wouldn't sleep with him. I kept telling him no and telling him no and telling him no. And that night he waited until I fell asleep, passed out drunk to rape me. And because of that first instance, I didn't tell anyone. And
Sweet. Cool. I can stop if you want.
because of that first instance, I didn't tell anyone because it was so traumatic of what I had went through at first, where people were giving me false hope and no one was giving me a reality. And I didn't want to go through that reality again. I just wanted to move past it. I ended up pushing through and I swept it under the rug myself. I didn't tell anyone in my family, and I just went through counseling services. I ended up starting a sisterhood with 4 other girls, and they are literally my saving grace, as well as every other girl that has come through that group. We support each other, we advocated for each other, and without them, they wouldn't have pushed me to be the person that I am today, to speak up and to lead others and to give others a voice and give myself a platform and speak on other women's accounts and all the other girls when they were sexually abused as a kid. And I am now here because of them and because of counseling services, and I just hope that any other girl that is ever going through anything, that they know that they're not alone, that they know that it's not their fault, that they can see even the smallest bit of light shine through and just continue to push, just to keep going, because there's other people out there that are like you, and the more that you speak up and the more that you say something, the more that it's going to come to light and people are going to do something, people are going to make a change. So keep reporting. Know that there's people out there that will support you, and find that common ground and find that support system, and when you do, just never let it go.
I am Jessica Batista, and I am proud to share this documentary with the world. I am proud to say I interviewed such strong people to share their stories, and I'm proud to say I'm going to try and make a change in this world, with one documentary at a time.